You'll notice he no longer suffers delusions of humanity.
Affirmative.
What's going on, tribe? So I came across this video, and the topic is basically, what was the Civil War about? But I'm not going to hold you guys too long. We're going to go ahead and play it. Let's get to it.
I know that he was a racist dude. I know that he threw out the Constitution and even explicitly advocated for throwing out the Constitution in order to save the Union. I know that he didn't actually care about black people and it was just sort of an excuse that he used. I know that he wanted the Union to exist as a union for reasons other than simple emancipation. It wasn't out of the kindness of his heart or his love and affection as some sort of Jesus messianic figure that he fought the Civil War. He fought the Civil War for the power of the Union.
So this segment is a clip from a point later on in the video. Since they put it at the beginning, I'll ask my questions at the beginning, starting with the notion of, if history is written by the victor, how do you know Lincoln was a racist? What makes you believe that? Who makes you believe that? What makes you believe he threw out the Constitution? What makes you think that that is the Constitution that he threw out? And if it is the Constitution, why did he throw it out? What was going on? Why do you think the Union was a good thing? I mean, it's the reason why we're dealing with all of this junk we deal with today. And also, what do you think the indigenous people had to do with this war? There's answers for that, but we won't talk about it right this moment. What is the reason that the Union had to come out on top in the so-called Civil War? Who were the people that had a vested interest in the victory of the Union? Because make no mistake, I'm not an expert on it, but I'm learning more and more from people like Navi Poet and our brother Cuddy Mayo, who has an extensive series on Lincoln that I think y'all should check out if you haven't. So while I currently don't know why Lincoln did what he did fully, I will agree the so-called Civil War was a power struggle. So we're going to go ahead and continue the video.
Welcome back to the American Journal, folks. I'm Chase Geiser, your host this morning. Let's go ahead and run that clip 11 of Nikki Haley basically refusing to acknowledge what she obviously believes, that the Civil War was primarily about slavery. I know it was a gotcha question, but let's see how she responds and sort of reinforce the points that I made at the end of the last segment.
What was the cause?
Okay, so before that clip gets started, let's address one thing right now. I'm going to get it off the top early so that y'all know where I'm coming from, my side of things going into this. The Civil War was not about the narrative of slavery that you were taught in the public school system. Why isn't it about that, Rando? Well, we got plenty of people who have information on that, being Jim Redwolf and a host of others within the so-called indigenous community. But the Civil War was not about slavery because you think the Civil War was fought to keep so-called African slaves as a part of the Confederacy. The first problem with that is, number one, niggas were the Confederacy.
What? Oh God, no!
That's something you're not going to be taught. And hang on, because at the end of the video, I'm going to prove that statement through my own bloodline. And then you ain't going to have shit to say.
You be damn black. What the fuck are you talking about?
Two, if you're going by the current narrative, the North had slaves too. But what is slavery? If you've seen videos from people like Dan Calloway, you'll know slavery is nothing more than a synonym for employment. That's right. When the indentured servants came over from Eurasia, they came over to work, or slave, labor. We weren't the slaves and the laborers. You Eurasians were.
No. No.
And I'm talking about Eurasians of all complexions. Y'all were the slaves. Y'all didn't bring us over here. I'm not from over there. But you didn't bring us over here in chains. We was already here. We're gonna go ahead and get to this, and let's see what Nikki Haley had to say.
What was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. What do you think the cause of the Civil War was?
Now, if you ask me, that was a good answer. For a politician, that was a good answer. Because she has to be in the knowing of that the narrative is changing from what it once was. She has to know that if she goes around talking about the Civil War was about slavery, niggas like me gonna start falling out of the woodwork to tear her ass up. We're gonna let her continue.
I'm sorry?
I'm not running for president. I wanted to see
That's a good thing.
on the cause of the Civil War.
I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government and what the rights of the people are. And I will always stand by the fact that I think government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. Government doesn't need to tell you how to live your life. They don't need to tell you what you can and can't do. They don't need to be a part of your life. They need to make sure that you have freedom. We need to have capitalism. We need to have economic freedom. We need to make sure that we do all things so that individuals have the liberties so that they can have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to do or be anything they want to be without government getting in the way.
Thank you. And in the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
No, you answered my question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next question.
Man, this is some bullshit! Boo this man!
Okay. Y'all saw that, right? In 2023, it's so surprising that you're not mentioning slavery. Why is that a focal point? I wish I could see who the foreign piece of shit is that answered that question.
Pussy ass nigga!
Some post-1940s retard out here running around think he know what he's talking about, or he's on somebody's payroll to keep that agenda rolling. In 2023, she ain't gonna talk about slavery because she knows deep down that it's the truth, that the shit wasn't about so-called enslaving us. Don't get it twisted. We got invaded, we got scammed, we got robbed, etc. But we didn't get kidnapped and brought over here. So the Civil War was about some things, but bringing us over here was not that, and keeping us in so-called bondage was not that. It was about taking power away from us through an underhanded tactic.
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
I don't know why would you dodge that question? If Abraham Lincoln could get elected in 1860, despite the fact that he wasn't on the ballot in 10 southern states, then you would think that Nikki Haley could get elected in 2023 with an outspoken critique of slavery, right? It's just such cowardice. She's either a coward or she's just plain stupid. Let's see what Chris Christie had to say about this.
Okay, before we get into that retard Chris Christie, let's address this guy. Do you even know what the hell you talking about, bro? I see you staring at them papers kind of hard. So she's a coward for actually speaking properly on the Civil War. I know all of you new age conservatives is out here trying to make sure that you know that niggas know that you on their side and all that shit. You know, votes and all that bullshit. None of y'all niggas getting my vote anyway. Y'all get a vote of no confidence. But you can already see he already has fixed in his mind what right and wrong is, what the truth is. And that has always been, you know, my problem with InfoWars, especially in the last 4 years. They bring some good information when it comes to dealing with the NWO. But the problem that they have is they're using the NWO's timeline, historical timeline, to try to fight the NWO. And it really makes you look like a bunch of hand puppets or controlled opposition.
Yes. In clip number 4 here.
See, because if she is unwilling to stand up and say that slavery is what caused the Civil War, because she's afraid of offending constituents in some other part of the country.
Retard.
If she's afraid to say that Donald Trump is unfit because she's afraid of offending people who support Donald Trump, because maybe she harbors in the back of her mind being vice president or being Secretary of State, and since she won't deny it, we have to believe that she's willing to do it. If she's unwilling to stand up to that, what's going to happen when she's got to stand up to Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries in Congress? What's going to happen when she has to stand up to Vladimir Putin and President Xi in China? What's going to happen when she has to stand up against forces in our own party who want to drag this country deeper and deeper into anger and division and exhaustion?
Like you're doing right now.
All right, so I'm no.
This is the same guy, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. This ninja shut Wildwood and all that shit down so he could sit his fat ass laid up on a beach chair so him and his family could enjoy the shore without any of us plebeians being around. He's an R-word because he thinks he can do some shit like that and that we're going to be stupid enough to forget he did that shit. You a bold motherfucker running for office. A bold motherfucker or a hand puppet. Take your pick.
Fan of Chris Christie. I think he's very obviously got some problems. Some big problems. Some sizable problems. And I think that he's obnoxious, and I think he's self-righteous. I don't think that he's very popular. I think it's stupid that he's running. I think he's hypercritical of Trump for no reason. I don't think he really accomplished much as a governor. The only cool thing he ever did was he beat down Marco Rubio in a primary debate, I think in 2016. That was a pretty cool debate moment. But debate moments aren't all it takes. I don't like him. I don't know why I would vote for him or support him. And I don't like what he said about Trump there. I don't agree with it. But he's right. He's right about Nikki Haley. How is she supposed to stand up in even more difficult political situations where there's more difficult conflicts of interest? There's more difficult special interests in place that conflict with one another.
Pause. So, something else I want to address. They really believe that this political system is real. I'm here to tell y'all, this shit is all staged. This government is a complete fraud in every sense of the term. They copied the methods of my ancestors, of my kinfolk's ancestors. That's why y'all are out here scratching your heads trying to figure out, why is the government doing this? The government's not supposed to be doing this. They're not the government, motherfucker. They're a criminal enterprise that you stupid motherfuckers keep trying to comply with. You niggas wasn't no goddamn revolutionaries, no goddamn Confederates. Y'all too cowardly. You think you fight the government through the government. Fucking stupid.
And so well spoken.
If she can't even stand up and say that, hey, slavery was a major part of it. It was about slavery.
No, it wasn't.
And like I said, I want you guys to call in if you feel differently. But the reason I believe what I believe is not because I'm a Yankee and I grew up in the land of Lincoln and my school taught me that. And it's not because I believe that Confederates are racists. It's because I looked it up this week and the states themselves said.
I could just shut the video down right here. I don't know if he's joking when he said that, but if you're just now looking up what the Civil War was about right before you made this video, you should probably keep your gump ass mouth shut. We'll continue on.
When they seceded from the Union, that it was about slavery. It was very obviously about slavery. I posted a tweet about it. I shared the links and the articles and the screenshots of the declarations of cause and intent and why. And I'm not saying that Abraham Lincoln was a good guy. I know that Abraham Lincoln was explicitly racist. I read his speeches before he was elected in 1860. I read the debates that he had with Douglas. I know that he explicitly said that he didn't believe that black people and white people should be able to intermarry. I know that he explicitly said that it's a natural order of a society that there be a superior and an inferior class, that there be a dominant and a submissive class, that one group must answer to the other. I know that he was a racist dude. I know that he threw out the Constitution and even explicitly advocated for throwing out the Constitution in order to save the Union. I know that he didn't actually care about black people and it was just sort of an excuse that he used. I know that he wanted the Union to exist as a union for reasons other than simple emancipation. It wasn't out of the kindness of his heart or his love and affection as some sort of Jesus messianic figure that he fought the Civil War. He fought the Civil War for the power of the Union. So I'm not some guy that thinks that Abraham Lincoln's some hero, and it bothers me when Republicans are like, you know who the first Republican was? It was Abraham Lincoln. Oh, great. The guy that wouldn't let the states secede. Obviously, I don't agree with slavery. I don't agree with the reason that the states wanted to secede, but I do believe that states ought to be able to secede. After all, our country itself is a secession from the English Empire, the British Empire, right?
Wrong again. Y'all weren't the ones over here fighting the Revolutionary War, quote unquote.
You got shit all twisted.
The U.S. corporation was not built on secession. It was built on usurpation. Underhandedly attaining power. You got to let this false history go. If you learned it in the public fool system, I'm here to tell you right now, you need to delete that stuff from your mental RAM because it's garbage. Junk files.
So if our country's founded on secession and we're making it illegal for states within our country to secede, then isn't that hypocritical?
I can see your concern there. I can see how you think would be hypocritical, but like I just mentioned, this ain't no government we're dealing with. This is a criminal enterprise. So it's not hypocritical. It's fraud and tyranny. We'll continue on.
Basically, the only way that a secession could actually legally happen in this country would be a civil war, but it didn't have to be that way. And like I said, I'm not an advocate for slavery by any means. I hate that the South chose to secede over that issue, forever tainted.
Once again, the South didn't secede over so-called slavery. Well, you know what? I'll say it like this. Of course the hell we gonna break away from you if you're trying to take away our business and industry. How you gonna run a business without employees? Now I know y'all think, oh, but the Africans was fucking slaving for free. There wasn't no fucking Africans over here. Y'all was working on our businesses, on our farms, and you motherfuckers were being paid. I know you were being paid because I've seen documents in my family tree of owning indentured servants.
No. No.
You niggas were paid. That's why they took your dumb ass down on the census.
the notion or the concept or the argument for secession. Now, when you utter the word secession, the first thing 9 out of 10 people think about in the United States of America who know anything about what happened in the Civil War, first thing they think about is slavery.
Because it's stupid.
So if you advocate for secession, then in their mind, you're on the Confederate side. In their mind, you believe in slavery. In their mind, you're a racist, you're a bigot, when there are so many other reasons to secede.
Public fool system at work.
Maybe the fact that 1 out of every 4 days that you work, the money that you make goes straight to the federal government. And then another 25% of the money you make goes to property taxes and healthcare costs. And another 25% of the money you make goes to sales tax and social security tax. And by the time it's all said and done, like 70% of your work just goes straight to the government. Basically, you're a slave now. Honest.
Okay, so I got to give this guy a little bit of credit. He's putting it together. That's right. Slavery didn't end with no Emancipation Proclamation, no Juneteenth. Like you'll hear on Dan Calloway's channel, slavery just got catapulted into the future. They reworded it and made you feel good about it. So all you people watching, if you W-2 and all that good shit, you pulling down a check and paying taxes, I'm here to tell you, you a slave. I don't care what your complexion is. Slave.
What? Oh, God, no!
Sleep. The reason that we should be seceding from the Union now is to fight against slavery. When the first secession was to protect the institution of slavery, then now the justification is just the opposite. If we want to be free, liberated from this political class, which has subjugated us and sold out all of our interests to international groups, the international political elites, like the Schwabs of the world, the WEFs, the NATOs, the UNs, the Zelenskys. Honestly, the next Civil War, if there's actually a secession that catalyzes it, is going to be a secession for freedom from slavery, not a secession to protect slavery. That's the fact of the matter. The next Civil War will actually be about slavery, regardless of what you think about the first one. The next one is going to be about slavery.
Exactamundo.
So now we came to the end of that video. I just wanted to, give my little closing thoughts on it. And my main goal of sharing this video with you guys is to show you guys that we really don't need to be arguing with our pale-skinned brethren, because the fact of the matter is they are just as fucking ignorant as the foundationally dead American. This is why I stand on segregation and Jim Crow. Let me be careful how I say this. Segregation was the best thing we had going for us. We didn't need to be integrated into the schools with them because we were all just taught the same garbage. I've had conversations with some pale-skinned people. Most of them don't even know where their ancestors came from when they got to Elizada. I asked a lot of them, they're like, I don't fucking know. You go talk to a foundationally dead American, what part of Africa your family from? I don't fucking know, but I spit in this tube and it said that. We went to history class, and history class taught us this. People. Public full education is garbage. It's garbage. Okay? Stop leaning on it. Get off your rump. Stop judging people who go to the internet for themselves to find out their own information, and do the same. So you can stop walking around here looking fucking stupid. And as for that little surprise I told you I had at the beginning of the video, I'm going to show you my 4th great grandfather. Don't worry about the trail to get to him. Just know he's my 4th great grandfather. Civil War veteran. So-called Civil War. Born a free man in the South. And fought for the Confederacy, nigga. Not for his freedom papers, but because he was a fucking Confederate. So we see here, military service, Civil War veteran. blah, blah, blah. From Bennetville, South Carolina, born in 1845. A free fucking man. He survived it because after the so-called Civil War, he got married. Now, y'all see what it says right here? Negro. Reclassified, of course, because this is the 1930 census. So we all know what happened in 1924. If you don't, you need to go find out. When he took that census, he was 84 years old. So just so y'all know, Ron don't know what the fuck he talking about. So before you bring your dumb ass over here to try to fucking combat me, this goes double for you foundationally dead Americans. You need to do your research and learn who you be. Shout out to my boy Cool. You need to learn who the fuck you be. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
You need to check yourself.
But with all that said, I just wanted to stop by real quickly and drop this off to y'all. Go ahead, like, share, subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
Why don't you bring your media cameras over there if you want to see some real truth?
So say good night to the bad guy. Go on.
I am a human being. I exist.
Delusions, Mr. Wordsworth. Delusions.
Send the word.